Ziaad, can you tell me about some of the effects that the pandemic has had on your business and the changes that these effects have made and will have going forward, particularly touching on technology, products and service, managing cash flow, and as well as the workspace and the working hours of employees going forward?
Sure. So this is also a very interesting question because ultimately I think the way the world will operate going forward is very different to pre-COVID days. So before COVID, we were always talking about the world of 4IR and what the art of the possible is and how we get there. However, with the advent of COVID, we were automatically thrust into 4IR where people had no choice. People were working at home. Companies needed to up their systems in order to allow people to continue to work. People had to service their customers remotely, and therefore all the advent technologies of 4IR were automatically already in play, which meant that people had to adapt or otherwise catch up pretty quickly. Now, what this means is that we, in the days of 4IR, have to be essential. We have to make sure that we are different in the sense of being able to differentiate ourselves in the market, to provide fantastic service, but also it creates a great amount of opportunity because it allows you different routes to market. And especially in the tech space, if you think about the advent of data, right, being able to use analytics in order to understand the market and look for opportunity, absolutely 4IR, right? Pure tech. Now, if you take one step further with the volume plays because of people being, in a remote location, not sitting at their office or at their desks in the office, it means that people need to connect through a different means into the cloud. And that means that there's a greater volume play, right? And what does that mean? And then how do you make sure that only people that need to link into those types of service are actually doing so in a secure way, so you don't have people without access, ultimately trespassing and getting into systems, which poses a threat. And then if you take it one step further, it creates great opportunity for areas like blockchain, because it allows for transparency, it allows for seamless integration of various systems, whilst at the same time keeping a proper log. So I think the world of 4IR has automatically thrust itself into us automatically. Then insofar as your other questions around products and services, I think companies have to be nimble and agile and have to evolve with the times, right? So it's all about being dynamic. It's about making sure that your route to market, as well as your products and services, are talking to what your customers need and how they service their customers. So it comes back down to the word of being essential. If you have the right balance between your products and services that you are offering to your customers and making sure that your route to market is aligned with new digital transformation, I think you're going to win. If you are stuck in legacy and you're not prepared to adapt, then unfortunately, the world will leave you behind, and therefore it is extremely essential. I think the other question you asked was around work and workspaces. In terms of that, we've seen that people working at home means that many companies in the CBD, in Sandton, in various other parts of the world are lying empty. So what that means is I think that in the longer term, there might be a reduction in demand on real estate and formal working spaces, and people are going to be far more nimble in terms of working where they need to work. So whether it be in the form of agile offices, whether it be in the form of working at home, or being in a formal environment. Now, there are definitely pros and cons to all of these things, right? We as human beings do need the connectivity. We do need the engagement because I think we, live off each other, and ultimately we thrive off that discussion and that engagement and that collaboration. But equally, we have to be able to be productive in different types of environments. So how do you get all of that working is really the responsibility of leadership to make sure that you get the outputs and the outcomes that you desire, but at the same time allowing for flexibility, which is what the world requires. Cash flow is extremely important because what we've seen in the market right now is that companies are prepared to invest in new digital transformation for the very reasons that I've outlined. But at the same time, people are worried about the outlook in the short term and what it actually means from an economic perspective. So what that means is that they are holding on to cash. Cash is tight, and therefore they are spending on what is absolutely necessary. I think the investments are going to be in the form of digital and less in terms of hardcore assets sitting at the office.